You're standing in your bathroom right now, aren't you? Bottle in each hand, bleach in one, some pink spray in the other. You're about to spend 20 minutes scrubbing a surface that shouldn't even be dirty yet. Stop. Put them down. Here's what took me years to understand. The way you clean your home right now was designed to be hard, not by accident. The harder it feels, the more you buy. And almost everything I was doing the exhausting way, Japanese homes solved decades ago, with less effort, less product, and less noise. I used to keep 11 cleaning bottles under my sink. 11. I counted them one Sunday when I couldn't find the one I actually needed. Elbow deep in a cabinet, knees on cold tile, and I remember thinking, there has to be a calmer way to live than this. There is. These are real Japanese household methods, some with names older than my grandmother, and they work because they treat cleaning as prevention, not punishment. And the very last one I'm going to share, the one built around a method called the wiping down habit that Japanese school children still do every single afternoon, quietly overturns the single biggest assumption you have about keeping a home clean. It costs nothing. It works in a studio apartment, and you can start it this weekend. Stay with me, because each trick makes the one before it look like wasted effort. Let me start with the habit that made me feel the most foolish once I understood it. You wait until the mess is visible before you clean it. Of course you do. We all were taught that. You see the soap scum, the grime, the ring in the tub, and then you attack it. That's what cleaning means to most American homes. You wait for dirty, then you fight dirty. Here's what that actually costs you. By the time you can see soap scum, it is already bonded to the surface. It is hardened. Now you need a stronger chemical, more scrubbing, more time, and more of that lower back ache to remove something that was soft and wipeable just days ago. You're not cleaning. You're doing damage control on a problem you let ripen. In Japan, there's a concept woven right into daily home life, and the closest translation is that cleaning is something you do a little of constantly, so the big cleaning never has to happen. The bathroom is the clearest example. After the last person takes a bath or shower at night, they take a small squeegee, the kind that fits in your palm, and they pull the water off the walls and the glass. 10 seconds, maybe 15. That's it. I resisted this for the longest time. It sounded like extra work. Why would I add a chore? But soap scum and hard water spots can only form when water sits and evaporates and leaves its minerals behind. Remove the water, and the scum has nothing to build from, nothing to bond to. The ring in your tub, the cloudy glass, the pink mildew in the corners, all of it needs standing moisture to exist. I bought a little squeegee for about $4 and hung it inside the shower. Within 3 weeks, I stopped needing the heavy bathroom spray entirely. The glass stayed clear on its own, and I stood there one night realizing I had spent years of Saturday mornings scrubbing away a mess that I myself had allowed to form every single night by simply walking away from the wet. But if you think drying the shower is a small thing, wait until you see what you've been doing to your kitchen sponge. You keep a sponge by your sink, and you use it until it smells. Be honest. You squeeze it, you rinse it, you tell yourself it's fine, and you keep using it long past the point where it's clean. I did this for a decade. That damp sponge sitting in a little tray by the faucet felt like the most normal object in any kitchen. That sponge is one of the dirtiest things in your entire home. It stays wet, it stays warm, it holds food particles. That is a perfect nursery for bacteria. And every time you wipe your counter, you are spreading them around rather than removing them. You feel like you're cleaning Your seasoning. Japanese kitchens took a different path. And it comes down to one word you'll see everywhere once you know it. The idea of the wiping cloth, the fukin. Instead of one permanent sponge that lives wet, they use flat, thin cloths that dry completely between uses and get boiled or washed regularly. The whole design philosophy is that a cleaning tool must be able to dry out fully, fast, so nothing can grow in it. A sponge can't do that. A thin cotton or linen cloth can. Here's exactly what I do now. I keep a small stack of flat cotton cloths in a drawer. I use one to wipe the counter, one for dishes, and when it's damp and done, I hang it where air hits both sides so it's bone dry within the hour. Once or twice a week, they go in a pot of hot water on the stove for a few minutes, and they come out fresh. No smell, no slime, no mystery funk when I lean over the sink. The relief of never smelling that sour sponge smell again is honestly hard to describe, and it cost me nothing but a change in what I reached for. Now, that switch was about the tool. Therefore, the next one is about something bigger. The entire way you were taught to store the stuff you clean with. You buy a different product for every surface. Glass cleaner, wood cleaner, bathroom cleaner, kitchen cleaner, stainless steel cleaner, a special one for granite, a special one for tile, a foaming one for the toilet. Your cabinet is a graveyard of half-used bottles, each promising to be the only one that works on its one specific surface. I want you to add it up sometime. The money is one thing, and it's a lot, but the real cost is decision fatigue. Every time you clean, you first have to choose which bottle, which surface, is this the right one, did I run out? That friction is exactly why cleaning feels heavy. It's not the wiping. It's the 11-bottle logistics before the wiping. Japanese homes lean hard on a small number of simple, almost old-fashioned cleaners that do many jobs. The big three you'll find again and again are baking soda, which they call juso, citric acid, which they call ensan, or clean with as kuensan, and plain rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. Baking soda handles grease and scrubbing. Citric acid dissolves the white hard water and mineral crust, the same stuff clouding your faucets and your kettle. Alcohol wipes down and evaporates, clean with no residue and no rinse, perfect for counters and the fridge. The reason this works better isn't magic. It's chemistry that hasn't changed in 100 years. Grease is acidic, so a mild base like baking soda cuts it. Mineral scale is basic, so a mild acid like citric acid dissolves it. You don't need 40 products. You need to match acid to base, and almost everything in your home falls into one of those two piles. I replaced most of my cabinet with 3 cheap staples and a couple of spray bottles. My under-sink cabinet has empty space in it now, and every time I open it, I feel a little lighter. I stop choosing, I just reach. Therefore, once I stop choosing between products, I notice something even more surprising about the tools themselves. You reach for a paper towel to wipe up almost everything. Spill, wipe, throw it away. It feels clean, it feels hygienic. That's the whole promise. Use it once and toss the germs in the trash. I went through rolls and rolls of the stuff and never questioned it. But a paper towel smears more than it absorbs, and it leaves lint and streaks on glass and mirrors, which is why you end up going over the same window 3 times. You're not lifting the dirt. You're pushing it around and shedding paper fibers while you do it. And you're paying for the privilege, roll after roll, week after week, sending it all to the landfill. The Japanese answer here is the microfiber cloth used dry, and specifically the idea of dry wiping karabuki. Karabuki is an old practice, wiping a surface with a completely dry cloth to bring up shine and lift dust and fingerprints without any liquid at all. Temple floors in Japan have been kept gleaming this way for centuries, monks moving down long wooden corridors with a dry cloth. No spray, no chemical, just the right cloth and friction. On glass and mirrors and stainless steel, a dry microfiber cloth grabs the smudge instead of smearing it. One pass, no streaks, because there's no liquid to dry into streaks. For the kitchen, I keep one dry cloth just for the faucet and the appliance fronts, and my stainless finally stopped looking cloudy and haunted by fingerprints. When something is genuinely sticky, I dampen a cloth, wipe, then follow with a dry one, and the surface is finished. Done. Not streaked, not damp, done. I haven't bought paper towels in months, and I keep waiting to miss them. I don't. Now here's where it gets a little more surprising, because the next habit isn't about how you clean. It's about why your home keeps getting dirty in the first place. You clean around your clutter. You dust the shelf by lifting each object, wiping under it, setting it back. You mop around the things on the floor. You've made peace with cleaning a full, crowded home, working your rag between the picture frames and the little decorative bowls and the stacks of things that live on every flat surface. Every object you own is a thing you have to clean around forever. That's the hidden tax nobody warns you about. It's not just that clutter looks busy, it's that each item creates edges where dust collects, shadows where grime hides, and a small delay every time you wipe. A crowded surface can take 5 times longer to clean than a clear one, and you pay that tax every single week for as long as you own the stuff. This is where the most famous Japanese method comes in, and you already know the name, the KonMari method from Marie Kondo. But the part that actually changes your cleaning isn't the folding or the joy question everyone quotes. It's the underlying principle that a home with less in it is a home that resists mess on its own. Clear surfaces don't collect. A counter with nothing on it takes 1 wipe. A counter covered in objects takes 20 small moves. I'm not telling you to throw out your life. I started with one surface, my bathroom counter. I moved everything off it into a drawer and left only what I use every single day. Suddenly, wiping that counter took 4 seconds, and I actually did it every day because it was effortless. Then I did the kitchen counter, then the top of the dresser. Every surface I cleared became a surface that stayed clean because there was nothing to clean around. The cleaning didn't get faster because I got better at cleaning. It got faster because I gave the dirt fewer places to hide. And that shift from fighting mess to preventing it is the thread running through every single thing Japanese homes get right. That shift from fighting mess to preventing it is the thread running through every single thing Japanese homes get right. And that quiet anger, that sense of having been handed the hard version on purpose, is exactly what led me to put everything I've learned into one place. If you want to go deeper than a single video allows, I wrote a book called Clean Slate. It also goes by deep order in the Clean system, depending on where you find it. And it walks through the full framework behind every habit I'm sharing with you today. Room by room, in the order that makes the whole system click. You can find it linked in the description below. It's the resource I wish I'd had at the beginning when I was still on my knees counting bottles under the sink. And that quiet anger, that sense of having been handed the hard version on purpose, is exactly what led me to put everything I've learned into one place. Which brings me to the point in the story where I have to tell you something a little uncomfortable, because by now you might be feeling what I felt, a quiet anger. None of this is complicated. A squeegee, a dry cloth, 3 cheap staples, less stuff. So why did nobody teach us this? Why did I spend 15 years and hundreds of dollars believing that a clean home required an arsenal? Because a home that cleans itself doesn't sell anything. There is an entire industry built on the opposite idea, on convincing you that every surface needs its own specialized bottle, that clean means a strong chemical smell, that the solution to a messy home is always another product. You were taught to wait until it's dirty, then buy something powerful to fight it, because that cycle sells bottles. The prevention approach, the little squeegee, the dry cloth, the empty counter, sells almost nothing. So it was never marketed to you. It was never on the end cap at the store. It got quietly left out of the story you were raised inside. That's not your fault. You did exactly what you were shown. But once you see that the difficulty was the product, you can't unsee it, and you start questioning every heavy routine you inherited. So let me question one more with you, because this one I'm almost embarrassed about. You spray a chemical air freshener to make a room smell clean. A scented plug-in, an aerosol, a strong burst of vanilla or linen, or so-called fresh. You've trained yourself to believe that clean has a fragrance, and when a room smells strongly of something, it must be clean. But that fragrance is covering, not cleaning. It's a smell layered on top of a smell, and often it's masking a source, a damp corner, a stale drain, air that simply isn't moving. You're perfuming a problem instead of solving it. And many of us are breathing those synthetic scents all day in a closed-up house without ever questioning why the air feels heavy. Japanese homes handle odor at the source, and the first tool is almost laughably simple: air itself. There's a daily habit of opening windows to move air through the home, even in cold months, even for just a few minutes, to flush out stale, damp air and replace it. Moisture is what makes a home smell. Standing air is what makes a home smell. Move the air, and the smell has nowhere to settle. For the spots you can't air out, the answer is charcoal, specifically binchotan, a hard white Japanese charcoal that's been used for centuries and works as a natural odor and moisture absorber. You place a piece in the fridge, in a closet, near the entryway where shoes sit, and it quietly pulls smell and dampness out of the air. No fragrance added. Nothing to smell at all, which is exactly the point. Truly, clean air has no scent. It just feels light. I pulled every plug-in out of my walls. I opened my windows for 5 minutes each morning while the coffee brewed, and I put a couple pieces of charcoal in the places that used to go stale. My home stopped smelling like fake vanilla and started smelling like nothing. And I finally understood that nothing is what clean actually smells like. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right about now. This all sounds lovely for someone with a house, but you're in an apartment. You rent. You can't drill. You can't renovate. You can't change a single permanent thing, and your landlord counts the nail holes. This next part is for you specifically, because the truth is, these methods were born for exactly your situation. Japanese homes are famously small. The methods that came out of them were never designed for big houses with big storage. They were designed for tight apartments where every inch matters and nothing can be wasted, which makes them perfect for a rental. And the biggest one you can fill without a single screw is the vertical habit, the practice of storing things standing up rather than stacked flat. Think about how you store things now. Folded clothes in a stack, pans nested inside pans, papers piled. When you stack, you can only ever reach the top thing easily, and to get the bottom thing, you disturb the whole pile, which is why your drawers turn to chaos within a week. You're fighting your own storage every time you open it. The Japanese approach, which KonMari made famous, but which runs through the whole culture, is to store vertically so you can see every item at once and remove any one of them without disturbing the rest. Fold your shirts into little standing rectangles and line them up in the drawer like files in a cabinet. Every shirt visible, every shirt reachable. The drawer stays organized because taking one out doesn't collapse the others. You can do the same thing everywhere with zero renovation. Stand your baking sheets and cutting boards upright in a cheap organizer instead of stacking them. Store your food packets upright in a bin so you can read every label. Use tension rods, which press between two walls with no drilling at all, to create a hanging line under the sink or across a cabinet. A tension rod holds spray bottles by their triggers, holds a small curtain, divides a shelf, all without a single hole in the wall your landlord will ever see. I lived in a rental with almost no storage when I started this, and the vertical switch alone gave me back what felt like a whole extra cabinet. Nothing was hidden anymore, nothing was buried, and when you can see everything you own at a glance, you stop buying duplicates of things you already had but couldn't find. There's one more rental-friendly move I have to give you because it stops the mess before it ever enters your home. At the front door, the Ginkan Japanese homes have a strict habit. Shoes come off every time, no exceptions. The entryway is designed as a hard border between the outside world and your clean floors. Think about what your shoes carry across your floors right now. Everything from the sidewalk, the parking lot, whatever was on the ground all day, tracked across the exact floors where you sit, where children play, where you walk barefoot at night. You mop it up later with effort, or you could simply not bring it in. You don't need a renovation for this. You need a mat and a rule. Take your shoes off at the door, keep them there, and I promise your floors will need cleaning far less often because the single largest source of floor dirt just stopped walking across them. I mop maybe a third as often as I used to, and my socks stopped turning gray. It's the cheapest cleaning upgrade in the world, and it's free. But keeping the dirt out at the door is only half of it because there's still the dirt that's already inside. And the way you deal with that leads me to the last flip, the one I saved for the end, the one that changed how I think about cleaning more than anything else on this list. For years, I believed cleaning was an event, something you schedule, something you dread. You let the mess build all week, and then on Saturday you do the big clean hours of it, and you feel accomplished and exhausted, and then it starts building again for next Saturday. The whole week is dirty, the weekend is grueling, and you never actually feel like you live in a clean home. You feel like you live in a home that's either about to be cleaned or has just recovered. Here is the secret that undoes all of it. In Japan, there is a daily practice called osoji in its big form, but the everyday version is something school children do that most Americans have never heard of. In Japanese schools, there are no janitors the way we think of them. At the end of every day, the students themselves clean the school. They call it the cleaning time. And part of it is a specific practice called zokingake, where children take a damp cloth and wipe the floors and surfaces together for about 15 minutes every single day. Sit with what that means. An entire nation grows up learning that cleaning is not a weekend war. It's a short, daily, almost meditative wipe down that never lets mess accumulate in the first place. 15 minutes a day, every day, and the deep clean simply never becomes necessary because dirt never gets the chance to build into something that requires a deep clean. The Saturday you dread only exists because you skipped the 15 minutes on the other 6 days. This is the whole philosophy underneath every trick I've given you, finally made plain. The squeegee at night, the dry cloth, the cleared counter, the shoes at the door. They are all versions of the same truth the Japanese built into daily life generations ago, and that we in America were quietly taught to forget, so we'd buy the powerful stuff to fix the mess we let ripen. A little every day, so the big clean never comes. Here's how you start this weekend, and it costs nothing. Pick a window of time you already waste, the few minutes while the coffee brews, the ad break, the stretch before bed. Take one damp cloth, wipe the surfaces in one room, just one room. Tomorrow, the same, maybe a different room. You are not cleaning to fix a mess. You are wiping so a mess never forms. Within 2 weeks, you will notice the thing that undid 15 years of Saturdays for me. The mess stops coming. The dread has nothing to attach to, and you get your weekends back. The real method was never a stronger product. It was a smaller, gentler habit that someone in Japan protected and passed down while the rest of us were sold the hard way. Now it's yours. So here's what I really want you to take from all of this. You were never lazy, and you were never bad at cleaning. You were just handed the exhausting version of a job that was supposed to be light, and you carried that weight for years, believing that was simply how a home worked. It isn't. It never was. If you're the kind of person who's willing to question the expensive, back-breaking way you were taught and trade it for something quieter and smarter, you already think the way these Japanese homes do. You just needed someone to hand you the other version. Now I want to hear from you. Of everything I shared, which old habit are you the most ready to drop? The 11 bottles under the sink, the smelly sponge, or waiting all week for the dreaded Saturday clean? Tell me in the comments, and tell me which flip surprised you the most, because I read them and I genuinely love seeing which one hits people hardest. Type it out. Don't just think it. Actually leave the comment, because this community grows every time one of you shares the habit you're finally letting go of. And if you're ready to keep unlearning the hard way and reclaiming a calmer, simpler home, come with us. In the next one, I'm opening up the one closet in my home that used to embarrass me the most, and the single Japanese folding trick that emptied half of it without me throwing away a thing. You won't believe what fit once I stop stacking. I'll see you there. Still with me? That tells me you really care. Inside the tidy home circle, I go deeper into that wiping down habit and the room by room daily routine, picking up right where I stopped. Ask me your own questions, and I answer you myself. Not a robot. You belong here with thousands of home organizers like you. Just point your phone's camera at the code on screen, and you can cancel anytime with one click.